Imagine this. Bright Saturday afternoon, birds chirping like nothing's wrong, and suddenly a grown man in a cheap tactical vest, earpiece dangling like a kid's toy, hauls off and clocks my wife square in the jaw. Over a fence. Yeah, a 4-foot cedar fence that apparently offended the sacred visibility standards of Willow Creek Estates. And there, across the manicured lawn, stands Vanessa Thorpe, our HOA president, pearls gleaming, iced latte in hand, smiling like she just watched her favorite reality show finale. I'm Ryan Kessler. Most folks around here still whisper that I'm the difficult one, the guy who got blacklisted 3 years ago for daring to question a $250 fine over my aggressive mailbox color. They painted me as the angry vet who couldn't let things go, the one who made everyone uncomfortable at the annual block party. So I learned to shut up, keep my head down, mow exactly 2.5 inches, and smile through the bullshit. Sophia, my wife, ex-Army combat nurse who'd patched up guys in worse hellholes than this cookie-cutter paradise, always said my silence was smarter than any scream. Until that punch. I'd been in the garage tinkering with the old Jeep, half listening to a podcast about corporate greed, when I heard the boots. Not normal neighbor footsteps. These were deliberate, heavy, like mall cops playing SWAT on a budget. 3 of them marched through our side gate without so much as a knock, black vests with shiny compliance officer patches that probably came from Vanessa's cricket machine. The leader, Trent Harlan, clutched a clipboard like it was the Constitution itself. Sophia was out back doing her yoga stretches near the rose bushes, trying to breathe through the latest passive-aggressive email from the HOA about excessive floral enthusiasm. Ma'am, this boundary structure violates Section 7B of the Aesthetic Harmony Code, Trent barked, voice dripping with fake authority. Sophia didn't even stand up fully. She just looked at him with that calm medic stare she used on panicked soldiers. We filed the appeal. It's pending. You know the rules better than I do. Trent stepped closer, boots crushing her lavender. Pending doesn't mean compliant, sweetheart. That's when it happened. No warning. He just swung. One meaty fist connected with Sophia's face. She dropped like a stone onto our perfect Kentucky bluegrass. Blood on the lawn. My blood ran ice cold. For half a second the world went silent. Then the cold rage I'd buried since my last tour, the kind that doesn't explode, it calculates, settled in my gut. I didn't charge like some movie hero. I walked out slow, phone already recording, because I'd learned the hard way that cameras beat fists when the whole neighborhood thinks you're the problem. Vanessa called from her porch, voice all sugar and venom. Ryan, dear, let's not make a scene. Officer Harlan is simply enforcing community standards. Bless your heart for trying to keep up. Bless my heart. Classic Karen. I stepped between Sophia and the goons, voice low. You just assaulted an Army veteran on her own property. Smile for the camera. Boys, your little cosplay career is about to go viral. Trent blustered something about resisting compliance, but when my neighbor Jordan, tech wizard with cameras everywhere, came jogging over filming from 2 angles, the tactical trio suddenly remembered they had other citations to issue. They slunk off like the clowns they were. That night Sophia pressed ice to her swelling eye while I paged through the HOA handbook thicker than a phone book. Buried on page 47, section 12C. Enforcement reps need written owner consent or court order before stepping foot on private property. They had neither. Bingo. Jordan came over with his laptop. These guys aren't volunteers, Ryan. They're on payroll from some shell company called Sterling Developments. And Vanessa? She's been finding single moms, widows, and vets at triple the rate of everyone else. Patterns too clean. I didn't rage. I smiled for the first time in years. Because now I had something better than revenge. I had receipts. The next morning, Vanessa's infamous neighborhood email hit every inbox, preserving our slice of paradise, a gentle reminder about harmony. Translation: comply, or we'll make your life hell in cursive. Then the first anonymous complaint landed at Sophia's hospital board questioning her emotional stability after the incident. Subtle. We upgraded cameras. Jordan set up motion sensors that could spot a squirrel fart at 50 yards. One night the floodlights tripped. We caught a kid in our side yard pouring something into the sprinkler lines. Copper sulfate, root killer. The little punk cracked fast, paid cash by a compliance contractor, working for Sterling Developments. 2 days later, a fresh violation notice appeared: vegetative decay and ornamental failure. They were fining us for the damage they caused. Sophia's bruise turned a lovely shade of purple, but her smile stayed sharp. They want dirty? Let's give them dirty. Jordan and I spent nights tracing Sterling. Shell after shell led to Damian Sterling himself, a slick developer who'd quietly bought up distressed properties across 3 counties. The HOA wasn't protecting lawns. It was clearing land for his next luxury condo project. And the weapon? Vanessa Thorpe, smiling enforcer-in-chief. Then Jordan found the motherlode, a password-protected server. He cracked it using Vanessa's cat's birthday, because of course she used that. Inside, the Compliance Retention Index, a spreadsheet of every problem homeowner: mortgage balances, health issues, resistance risk. Sophia and I were marked high priority, escalate to vacancy Q3, next to our fake-friendly neighbor Gary's name. Asset, reliable informant. Gary, the guy who'd brought us casseroles and just wanted to help with computers. He'd been feeding them intel the whole time. The night we confronted him, Gary folded like cheap lawn furniture. Vanessa said it was just paperwork. Sterling promised no one would get hurt. We let him sweat, because the real prize was coming. A plain envelope appeared on our doorstep, a photo of Sophia making coffee, taken from inside our kitchen. No note, just proof they'd been inside our house. Sophia's hands shook for the first time. Then she looked at me. Game on. We warned the other names on the list: old Mr. Henderson with his illegal mailbox, Mrs. Evans and her garden gnomes. For the first time in years, people actually listened instead of crossing the street when they saw me coming. Turns out being the neighborhood pariah gave me perfect cover to watch everyone. Vanessa started slipping. At the grocery store, she cornered me, voice dripping fake concern. Ryan, darling, all this unpleasantness, surely we can resolve it like civilized neighbors. I'd hate for Sophia's career to suffer more misunderstandings. I just smiled. Funny you mention misunderstandings, Vanessa. I've been collecting quite a few. Her perfect smile cracked for half a second. Beautiful. The monthly HOA meeting in the community hall felt like walking into a trap. Vanessa at the podium in a pastel power suit, Damian's lawyer in an Armani suit beside her looking like a shark in loafers. The room smelled of fear and cheap coffee. I didn't wait for the agenda. Before we vote on mailbox color palettes, let's talk about racketeering. Gasps. Vanessa's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. Ryan, this is hardly the time. Jordan plugged in his laptop. The big screen lit up with the blacklist. Names. Dollars. Vacate by Q3. The room went dead silent, then exploded. Vanessa tried the script. These are fabricated lies from a known troublemaker. But the recordings Jordan played next shut her up cold. Damian Sterling's voice on speakerphone ordering more definitive measures for problem lots, including ours. People who'd been silent for years stood up one by one. Mr. Henderson's voice cracked as he described losing his wife's memory garden to fines. Mrs. Evans held up her garden gnome like a trophy. The room turned. Then the doors burst open. Not Sterling's goons, FBI badges flashing. Vanessa Thorpe, you're under arrest for conspiracy, wire fraud, and RICO violations. Handcuffs clicked. Vanessa's pearls looked pathetic against the steel. Damian's lawyer went white. Turns out our quiet complaints months earlier had finally connected with a bigger federal investigation into Sterling's empire. Vanessa sang like a canary once they promised protection from her boss. Willow Creek breathed again. New HOA board. Mrs. Evans elected president. First act, neighborhood bonfire of old violation notices. Sophia and I rebuilt the fence an inch taller just because we could. The new inspector just winked. But late one night, an encrypted message popped up on my laptop. No sender. Just a new list, Tier 2 priority zones. Dozens more neighborhoods. Sterling was just middle management. The message ended. Professional courtesy. Stay quiet or become visible. Signed Mr. Glass. We're stronger now. Neighbors actually talk instead of wave. But every time I see a perfectly mowed lawn, I remember, the rules were never about harmony. They were about power. So here's the question that keeps me up at night. Was Vanessa Thorpe really the villain, or just the smiling face of a machine that turns neighbors into marks? Who was truly wrong? The fist that swung, the woman who smiled while it happened, or the rest of us who stayed silent until the punch landed on our own lawn? Drop your answer below, because next time it might be your fence, your wife, your life.